Decluttering is a daunting task, but today I want to talk about some of the mistakes I made when I was decluttering my home, and maybe that will help you avoid some of the pitfalls. Hello everybody, my name is Zoe and I am in the process of decluttering my whole house and setting it up to go travelling full time. And the last couple of days I've been going around my house and emptying the last drawers because, where I've sort of hidden things or shoved things that now need sorting out because we're getting near to selling my house. And while I was doing this, I was thinking about how I had made mistakes at the beginning of the decluttering process and how it got easier as I learned from those mistakes. So I'm going to share some of them with you and hopefully that will help you out. I'm putting up here pictures to remind you of what my house was like when I started this process. And it was very overwhelming. I had a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff. And I had to get rid of all of it so I could sell the house and go. And I just found it very overwhelming, not really knowing where to start. And at the beginning, I did try and do as much as I can and, tackle lots of it at once. And what I was finding was I was doing a little bit here and a little bit there, and I wasn't really making any headroom because I felt like I was just moving things around the house, basically. I didn't really have a clear plan of what to do. I just had this feeling I'm never going to get this done. But then I calmed it down a bit and I said, I don't need to do this in a week. I've got time to do this. This isn't something I have to get done straight away. It's going to take a while to sell my house. And as we now know, it's taken 18 months at least. And we're still not quite there. But, at the time I thought, I've got 4 months. But I thought I need a system. So what I started doing is, two things. I started concentrating on one room at a time. And I actually started in my spare room, in my spare bedroom. I have 2 spare bedrooms, but I started in the one at the front. And I did one thing at a time. So I did like the wardrobe one afternoon and then the cabinet another day, and just sort of broke it down so that I was doing manageable signs, manageable bits at a time. Because if I went in there and did the whole room, nothing would get done. It just wouldn't. There was just too much. And then as I was doing that, I started taking a box up with me so I had a box of things that I wanted to keep, a box that I would be giving away to Auntie Kathleen, and then a box that was going to charity, and a bag for rubbish, and I just would line them all up, and and try and be organised as you're going, because I kept finding if I was throwing things on the bed and then doing it, I just found it much easier in the end to just put things straight in boxes. Instead of otherwise I was doing everything twice. I was putting it on the bed and I was sorting it out again. It was just taking forever. And with my clothes, I wanted to sell things, and if you put everything in that sale box and you don't start the selling process, that's also very overwhelming. So every time I emptied a wardrobe, everything that I'd put in the sale box, I then took out and listed. I didn't want to leave everything to the last minute. And when I emptied a cabinet, I did the same thing. I would list the cabinet. So trying to do lots of little things at a time, but just concentrating on one room at a time and doing it in small manageable pieces and dealing with the things as you declutter them. So if you're keeping them, clean them, put them back. If you're donating them, put them in the charity bag. Go to the charity shop every week. Don't just pile it all up, because once it starts leaving the house, you start seeing the progress, and it does make it a lot easier. The box that's going, to Auntie Kathleen or to your brother or something like that, then once it's full, seal it up, write their name on it, put it in the garage to the side. As soon as you see them, hand it over. And things you're selling, just get them listed. and I list them, and then I put them, well, to start with, I hung them back in the wardrobe and just had one wardrobe with things for sale. But then as time's gone on, I've just started putting them in a box that goes in the garage, and I know where they all are. But I don't have as much stuff to sell now. It was easier when it was hanging. But don't just like pile things up and leave them, because it makes you feel better when you see things leave the house. Yes. But honestly, it's hard. Now, you have lots of things that you feel emotional attachment to. Now, I did. When I originally started this, there were things I just didn't want to throw away, because they were like my photos, my pictures, ornaments I'd collected on my travel, heirlooms that had been handed down to me. And I really didn't want to dispose of them. And in my mind, I kept thinking, oh, one day I'll have a home again and I'll put them all back there. And I started boxing them all up. Wrapping them in to protect them and putting them in boxes. And I had about 25 boxes in my garage. And I thought, I'll store them somewhere. It was a mistake. Because no one I knew had space for me to store these 20 odd boxes at those. So it would mean I'd have to pay storage fees. And I looked into that and I was like, man, this is going to cost me about £500 a year. A bit more, I think it was. I thought, this stuff isn't even worth that. And they're saying, I'm gone 5 years, that's like £2,500. And it was more than that, I can't remember the exact price, but it wasn't a lot. And that's a lot of money I could be spending on something much more enjoyable than storage fees. So then my son brought a house and he had an attic space, and I asked him, do you have any space I can put things? He said, I haven't got space for 20 odd boxes, but you can put a few cases up there. I was like, oh man. So then I had to undo all those boxes and basically start all over again and take them all out. All the pictures that lots of boxes were photographs and pictures. So I took them all out the frames and put the photos in a box and like a shoe box, and I rolled all the pictures up so I could get them in one of these 3 cases. And then I had to be very ruthless about the things I was keeping and really think about, do I really want to keep this? Do I really need this in the future? And I was able to narrow it down. And a lot of my heirlooms, because also I didn't want them in a case getting broken, that was easy, wasn't it? Because I really didn't want those to get broken. So I gave them to another family member. And I had a box full of my dad's stuff, and I just had to go through it and deal with it. And I managed to get it down to 3 cases just by being ruthless. And that was a big... Now, I wish I hadn't have done that in the beginning now. I had this mindset that I could keep things somewhere. I hadn't fully thought about the cost of actually doing that. And for me, it just wasn't worth it. So everything I own is in 3 cases and 2 small bags. But I got through it in the end. So, do be ruthless. Do be ruthless. Now, not everybody is going to be doing the same as me and selling up and needing to get rid of everything. But still, if you want to downsize, or you want to just clear space, you've got too much stuff around you, just do a bit at a time. Don't go and think you have to do everything at once, and manage the things that you take out there and then. Take them to the charity shop, get them sold and that. Don't hold on to them until you've got a great big pile to go, because that pile just gets so big, it gets even more overwhelming than where you started. You need to see the progress, and it does make life a lot easier, and it does make you feel a lot calmer when it's all done and you get that. And do have a system. Do have the boxes ready and put everything in a box or a bag that you know where it's going. And then if you're staying in your home or you're downsizing and that, start thinking about, going forward. Don't then go and replace everything that you took out with something new. Start using the, like, if you're going to buy something, something else has to go. And make you think more about when you buy things, and it'll save you a lot of money. Because think how much money we've wasted on all this stuff that we've now had to get rid of. So if you're going to go and buy something, make sure you really, really want it. And if you do, think, I've got to take something out of the house to put it in, so that I don't create this chaotic declutter again. And it's funny how your mindset does change to be like that once you start doing it. Anyway, they were the biggest things, was get yourself a system and don't hold on to things like I did in my 20 boxes. Be more ruthless. Be really ruthless about it. There's no point paying storage fees for things. There really isn't. Anyway, that's my thoughts for today. Hope it was helpful. Feel free to share your stories below. I always love hearing from you. And thanks for watching. I'll see you all soon. Bye.